welcome everyone to our Simply Delicious cooking class. Today's class is inspired by the recipe book called Simply Delicious, funnily enough. And the theme of this book is family meals for under $5 a serve. So all the dishes, that can help inspire you to save money by having a Thermomix and watch your budget. And what's good about the beginning of the book is that there are some guides on like savings guides and tips and tricks to save money and eat seasonally. There's a season guide in here. There's playlists, savings guide. So this is a really good book to have. And for those who invest in a Thermomix this month, you'll be able to get this free with your Thermomix, as well as the kitchen toolkit. I'll just show you quickly the kitchen toolkit. This is awesome. These are all Solingen steel, and you've got 3 different knives, a scoop, a peeler, and your kitchen scissors as well. Super sharp, super great. Really great to just have in the kitchen or to take camping or have in a caravan or just wherever you need to be cooking. I grab it to even go on picnics or whatever, just so I know I've got what I need. But yeah, so those 2 things are coming free with anyone who invests in a Thermomix in June. So you can talk to your consultant about that. We do have 24 months interest free on, so that works out at $24 a week to have your Thermomix. And another great option is that you can earn a Thermomix by becoming a consultant. So talk to your consultant about that. If you don't have a consultant, let me know and I can allocate one to you based on a few questions that I'll ask you. For tonight's recipes, don't sit there writing notes on what the recipes are, because tomorrow I will email you all the links to the recipes. So yes, you don't need to worry about that. And if you have questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. One of us will answer the questions as we go. And I can't think of any other office matters to let you know. Oh yes, if you have your view on speaker view, you'll be able to see whoever's cooking as the bigger box on your Zoom screen. So that's a good one to put your view onto. And I'll be spotlighting the presenters as we go. So my name's Laura and I'm the team leader for the group of consultants here in the hills of Sydney. I'm just going to now introduce you over to Nat, who's going to cook our first dish for us. So if I can find her. Hey Nat.
Hi, how are you? So tonight I'm making Portuguese style custard tarts, and you'll find this on Cookie Do. It's also in the recipe book that Laura was talking about, and she'll talk a bit more about that later. So I've saved this to my Thermomix. You probably can't see the screen that well, but I've got it up and I'm just going to hit start cooking. I've preheated my oven. That's what I love about Cookie Do. I don't need to think, it tells me everything. I've greased the muffin trays. So the next step is put in half a lemon, like the zest, none of the white pith, 120 grams of white sugar. You probably can't see my screen, but on the Thermomix it brings up the scales automatically. So it's going to weigh it, but I already weighed it myself earlier. 2 tablespoons of corn flour. And then insert measuring cup and lid. Speed 9 for 20 seconds. Hit next. I'm going to scrape down the sides. Now, for anyone that hasn't seen a Thermomix before, I'm just going to show you what happened to the sugar. The sugar and the lemon. This is the start of making icing sugar. So we could pretty much say that's icing sugar, but for proper icing sugar, we do that a little bit longer. So one of my wow factors when I first saw the Thermomix was, oh my God, it makes icing sugar. So I always have to do the wow factor. Okay, next we're going to pop in 1 egg. 2 egg yolks. And 400 grams of milk. Again, the scales come up for me. And we're going to put the lid on. And I'm going to cook this. This is the custard. We're going to cook this for 7 minutes on speed 4. So the beauty of this is I don't need to stir my custard. It's going to do it all for me. And does anybody else need to do anything while I'm cooking, Laura? Yep. Okay, so I'll hand you back to Laura and I'll see you guys soon.
Okay, so I was just unmuting myself there. Yes, so I am going to show you another recipe from the Simply Delicious book, which is called our chocolate feed a crowd cake. And what's great about this cake is it's big and it is quite cheap to make. It's egg-free and dairy-free, so if you need to send it to school or wherever there's an allergen that way. You can also make it gluten-free if you use gluten-free flour. But it is not sugar-free, as you will see. It has a fair bit of that in it. Okay, so we have our chocolate feed a crowd cake. And I'm just going to press start cooking. I've already turned my oven on. Nat reminded me to do that, thankfully. And so this is going to be really easy. All the ingredients go in at once. So super easy. You can see my scales there go up in 1 gram increments. So even when I'm drizzling oil or light ingredients like cocoa and butter, it just is very accurate. Oh, that'll do. I don't want to go over. So I'm just going to stop at 79, which is totally fine. Now it's putting in water. So I've just got a jug of water here. And yep, that's good. All along the way, we're just pressing next and doing what it tells you to do. Now with the Thermomix, you don't have to use the guided cooking. You can also just cook manually on the manual modes as well. But for tonight, I wanted to show you the guided cooking because that's usually what I use. This is not Vegemite. This is my vanilla extract that I've made myself at home. So I'm going to put 2 teaspoons of that in. Just another cost-saving thing if you're making your own pantry staples. Along the way, you end up saving money, and then at least you know there's no additives in your food. So that's another good tip. I know, Kat, that's my little joke of having Vegemite in my baked goods. Balsamic vinegar. So you can see I've got it in a small drizzle thing, but because of the scales, it's very accurate to go in. I'm not going to have enough in here. 33. You know what? That'll do for now. 5 grams is going to be nothing. If I could be bothered, I'd go get another bottle. I've got 2 teaspoons of baking soda here, or bicarb soda. Bicarb soda and baking soda are the same thing. For those of you who aren't expert bakers. Now for the sugar. So again, just pull your container straight out of the pantry and use those scales to measure it in. Just making it really easy. If you wanted, you could cut down the sugar. If you're thinking this is a lot, it does make a really big cake. So if you look at the size of the cake afterwards, you will see that it's actually not too much sugar for the size of it. And some self-raising flour, which I have here in my container. Actually, I might just pour it in instead of using my scoop. See how accurate I can be. You can make your own self-raising flour in your Thermomix, even just by hand. You don't actually need a Thermomix to make self-raising flour. It's basically a mix of baking powder and normal flour. Where are we at? But you can make your own baking powder as well in it by milling the ingredients together. And that's what Nat was showing you about the power of milling in your Thermomix. It goes at 10,300 revs per minute, so super powerful to do all your milling. Oh yes, don't forget cocoa. So I'm using cacao. You can use cocoa, doesn't matter. Same thing, not really, but same taste. Just pouring that in. Good. And I think that's the last ingredient. Oh, a pinch of salt. Just a few twists from my shaker. Lid goes on, and for those who are wanting to know the difference between the TM5 and the TM6, this lid just stays in. And I'm going to turn this up. It says to turn to speed 5, or there's a little marker here that I just need to meet if you can't be bothered reading. So I'm just going to do that for 30 seconds. Now it's asking me to scrape down the sides of the bowl and then do it again for another 10 seconds. It's looking pretty good. There's just a little bit of flour up the top. So I really like that directive of scraping and doing again. Just to make sure it's all combined. So I've got mine, so you're meant to do this in a big cake, like a big rectangle cake. I'm gonna do it in muffins. I've got 24, 24, sorry, calculating in my head, muffins here. And just in case I have leftover, I've gotten out my mini muffin tray as well in case there's any leftover. I'm not expecting there to be, but I wanted to show you as well. These are our rose gold trays that you can get from the Mix shop. Both in normal size and mini, and they're really great because they don't bend or warp, and you don't have to grease them as well. They're really sturdy trays. So, and then it's just telling me to bake in the oven. So, and then that will be it. So I will show you when they're done. Let me see if Nat's ready for her next step. Oh, she is. It's like we planned it. Okay, I'm going to send you over to Nat while I just pour these in the tin. Nothing exciting to watch while I do that.
Thanks, Laura. That was really good timing because it just beeped at me. So it's just asking me to put in 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. I'm not as good as Laura. I haven't made mine yet, so mine's store-bought. But I do want to make it. I just never think about it. And then again, I'm inserting the measuring cup, so I could even go back to Laura in a second. Let's see. Nope, I'll just be 10 seconds. So while I've been waiting for the custard to cook, I've actually been rolling out my puff pastry. I do mine a little bit different to the instructions. So I actually just put 2 sheets on each other and then cut them into little squares, and then I roll them out. Because I just can't get my head around rolling it into a roll like it says and then cutting it. It doesn't make sense to me. I could be doing something wrong. That does happen in the world of Nat, so I do it Nat's way. And so now I just need to cool the custard down. So Laura, I can go back to you if you have something else to do while the custard's cooling.
Sorry, I was just on mute.
That's cool.
I'm just pouring. So let's go to Lisa.
Okay.
Lisa is going to show us a beautiful, quick dish you can make for dinner in the Thermomix from Simply Delicious. Hey, Lisa.
Hi. So I'm Lisa. Tonight we're cooking apricot chicken risotto. And I'm going to put you down in my screen so that you can see as close to the screen as possible. I hope you can see that well. So I downloaded this recipe from my phone. On my phone, I was on Cookie Do, and then I put it in my calendar, and now we're ready to start cooking. So lid off. 3 sprigs of fresh thyme into the bowl, and parsley into the bowl, and 2 cloves of garlic, and next ginger, and 100 grams of brown onion. Oh, 99, so close. And we're going to put the lid on, measuring cup in, and round to speed 7 for 3 seconds. I'm going to scrape down the sides. 3-second delay opening up the things there. That's what we've got here. So I'll scrape this down. Oh, it smells good already. Next, add 40 grams of olive oil, 25, 30, 1 more teaspoon, dribble more. Oh, you go over a minute. Oh, there we go, don't worry. And putting the measuring cup and lid back in. And we've got 3 minutes on speed 1. And it'll be sauteing on Varoma speed, on Varoma heat there. So while we're waiting for 3 minutes, and it's the only wait that I'll make you do, I just thought I'd tell you a bit about becoming a consultant and my journey in doing that. I did speak about this once before on it. I can't get my camera to stay still. There we go. So I joined as a consultant back in January, and I was really worried about going to Laura's house for my first team meeting because I really didn't consider myself a cook. And but I walked in there, I needed not have been worried one little bit because everyone was so welcoming, and I had a great experience. And even though we've been away from our customers and not face-to-face with our customers, I've really gained so much experience just in the last 3 months by doing these cooking experiences. And the reason that I became a consultant, my adult daughter just engaged and moving out with her fiance, buying a new home, and I'd never bothered to teach my children how to cook. We had been a very busy family, and they had their sports. They loved dancing and netball and soccer, and we always ran from one thing to the next. I was working in the city, and so by the time I got home from work each night, the kids were already fed and having their baths. So it wasn't a priority for me until my girls got older, and then I've suddenly not completed my job as a mum by teaching them how to cook. But using the Thermomix, one day Brianna came home and she said, I cooked dinner tonight at a boyfriend's house, a fiance's house. And I said, did you? What did you cook? And she said, rice. And I was awfully impressed because that's hard with a pot. Lots of measuring, lots of accurate stirring, that sort of thing. And I said, how did you do that? And she said, in the Thermomix. And I thought, oh, I have to get her a Thermomix because relationships are hard enough as it is. And I'd had a Thermomix for a couple of years before that, so she'd seen me using it. But now that she got my TM5 because I'm selling the TM6 to show to people. And I always loved my TM5. So it was never my intention to upgrade until and I suddenly looked that it offered. And we've still got 26 seconds to go on our little screen down there, the countdown. So I'll just also tell you, yes, I've gained a lot of encouragement from all of my colleagues there at Thermomix. And our team meetings at Laura's place are a bit of a chatty get-together. There's a bit of business that goes on as well. We learn a little bit about the platforms that we use, and Laura will cook us something and teach us a new recipe, and we'll sit around and taste that. And I enjoy hearing everybody else's stories, how much they enjoy their customers. There goes our line down there. Let's put you back to where you really want to be, and that's looking at the Thermomix. Okay, so 100 grams of carrots. And when you take the lid off, the lid weighs 340 grams, so we have to hit tear, and it goes down to 0. I hope that's showing well there. Let's go a little bit closer. There we go. And 100 grams of carrots and 120 grams of our red capsicum. And our lid's back on. Hit next. And we're going around to speed 7 for 3 seconds. There we go. Hit next. We're going to scrape down the sides of this as well. I'll just raise this up and try and give you a view of inside the bowl there. There comes the steam as well. It's probably going to fog up my camera a little bit. Okay, scraping down the sides there. Just so everything cooks evenly. Okay, we're heading next. Insert the butterfly whisk. So I'm just going to make a bit of a well there for the butterfly whisk. Let me show you how I put this in. Just between 2 blades. They can go on either side of the blades, and I just make sure that that's firmly in. Back along here.
Lisa, can I just show this before I put it in the oven?
Yes, of course.
So sorry, it'll be 2 seconds. So I've gotten 24 muffins, and I did have enough to make another 24 mini muffins. So as you can see, it is a really big cake if you make it as one big cake. But if you're needing to send cupcakes or muffins to school or something, this will make enough for you. So a really great recipe. And that's why it's called Feed a Crowd Cake. And back to Lisa, because I'm just going to put this in the oven.
Terrific, thank you. And now we're putting in our 500 grams of chicken fillets. Now it says thigh fillets, and thigh fillets do have, there's my chicken there, do have a lot more flavour. However, when I went to Woolworths today to pick up the chicken, the breast was on sale for $8.50, and the thighs were still at their normal $12 per kilo. So I've changed it to chicken breast, and now it's like much cheaper than our $5 per meal. Okay, 400 grams of the apricot nectar. Let's grab this. 100, 200. Okay, so 3. And as it approaches, with liquids, as it approaches to a final weigh, oh, I've gone over. I was going to say I go a little bit slower so I don't go too much over, especially with risottos, but I'm sure that that will be okay. 300 grams of water. Well, this is where I can make it up. I'll put in 270 instead of 300. Just get a little bit more flavour. Okay, I'm just going to slowly now. There we go. And a tablespoon and a half of our chicken stock paste. And like the girls, I've made my chicken stock paste as well. I made this one last night. So 1.5 for extra flavour. I'm going to put a video up on my Facebook page of how I did that a little bit later. And 300 grams of rice. Once again, I've got my rice in my container. And I just pour straight from the container. Makes me wonder why I didn't start cooking years ago, because this is fun. Had I known, I would have done this a long time ago. Oh, I've gone over a little bit there. Okay. Lid in. I've got a little bit of vegetable on the lid. I'm going to scrape that into the bowl as well. All that good nutrients. hitting next. And on to speed 1 for 17 minutes, and the temperature will be 100. Now, rather than waiting for that to happen, well, the 3 dots that are on the next to the next button up here, firstly, we can see the green line going across the top here. So we can see we're nearly done. And the number of steps over here, it says 24/32. So they're almost done there. We're going to go to the recipe details, and scroll up here. So there we are. It says 17 minutes. It's not going to work for us there. It tells us 17-minute speed 1. The next step is to remove the butterfly whisk, add our peas. Here, I've got my peas right here. And it'll be 4 minutes, 100 degrees Celsius, reverse speed on speed 1. And I prepared one earlier so that we didn't have to wait for so long. Let's go for a walk. Oh, my cord isn't light enough. Let's take this off. So we won't have the light in the background there, but here's the thermo server. And there's still nice and warm even after doing it before. My husband's already had a bowl of this, so it does come a little bit larger. And he's scraped his bowl clean. Absolutely loved his bowl. So we're going to be eating this later on tonight. And that's me all done. Back over to you, Laura.
Thanks so much, Lisa. That looks great. And a really good twist on an old-fashioned favourite of apricot chicken. Risotto. That's just awesome. So I am going to put Nat back on to continue on with her Portuguese tarts.
Thanks. Hi guys. So while everybody's been cooking, I've rolled out all my puff pastries. So put them into some muffin pans. And as you can see, they're really homemade. So now all I need to do is divide the custard, which I've poured into a jug, into the cases. Sorry, got to concentrate. Almost done. It's actually been really quick and easy to make too, so which is always a bonus. And the kids are looking forward to having this in their lunch boxes tomorrow. They wanted them tonight, and I was like, no way, you're going to bed. So you can have them for school tomorrow. So I bet I'm like mum of the year tomorrow for once. Okay, so divided all the custard into the puff pastry cases. Much easier pouring it into a jug. I had to pour it into a jug to put into the fridge to cool it down. Now I just need to bake it for 20 minutes or until it's browned enough. And then we transfer them onto a wire rack and we cool them before we serve them. So they'll be ready for school tomorrow. And I'll be mum of the year for the first time ever.
Not the first time ever. They look great. So we'll circle back to that when they're baked to show you the results there. And I am just going to share the screen now because I made earlier on, actually I'll do this one first. I made Gozleme last night for dinner from this Simply Delicious book, and I recorded it so that instead of doing it live for you, I could do it this way just to cut out the pockets of in between. So yes, here is the Gozleme. Hi, today I'm going to make a Gozleme with you from our book Simply Delicious, and we'll just get started and I can explain while we go along. So here is our recipe that I've pulled up on Guided Cooking. If I just press start, my scales straight away come up so I can pour the ingredients in without needing to use measure cups. So I'm just going to add in the milk. So now the first step is to make the dough. And while the dough is rising, then you can prepare your fillings. So adding in some milk. And now I'm just adding in an egg. Going straight in. Some olive oil. And what I love about the scales on the TM6, I don't know if you can notice, is that they go in 1 gram increments. So when you've got an oil drizzle that's kind of slow, it's still going to register it along the way and be really accurate, which is nice. So I'm just adding in some extra virgin olive oil. And that'll do. Oh, there we go, perfect. Now some yogurt. Just got some Greek style yogurt that's going in. So it's different to your normal bread dough here, although naan, I've seen some naan recipes that have yogurt in it as well, which is really yummy. So different texture. Oh, there we go. With the yogurt. Oh, I could hear that I skipped a step. And so I'm just putting in 2 teaspoons of yeast, and I just use dry yeast. When I buy my yeast, I like to keep it in the freezer so that it stays fresh, because yeast can deactivate, like it can go bad. So I'm just going to turn here. It's telling me to turn the speed to number 6 for 4 seconds. So also, if you can see a little line here, all I have to do is match that line. It's telling me to keep the measure cup inserted. Sure, I can do that. And now turn to speed 2. So now this time, the timer is set for 3 minutes, and you'll notice here that it's set to 50 degrees. So here's where the Thermomix is cooking. And it's just warming up that mixture so that the yeast can activate before we add our next ingredients. Now at this point, to multitask, I'm going to press these 3 dots. And if you can see, yeah, the screen says I can choose to cancel the recipe, go to my scales, or my recipe detail. If I go to recipe detail, I can look ahead and see what's next. So I'm going to look ahead and say, okay, I need to go get out my flour, baking powder, sugar, and salt to complete the ingredients for my dough. So that's what I would do in that time while this mixture is heating up, just to be multitasking. But I love how it's on the screen, so you don't have to look ahead or like have the book open or have the app open on your phone. It's just here ready to go. But for the sake of you not watching that process, I'm just going to pause the recording, and I'll do that a few times while I'm cooking the Gozleme so that you can just see the interesting steps, not me waiting around for the Thermomix. Because normally what I do is go clean up around the house, do laundry, help kids with whatever they need doing, that type of thing. So I'll see you in a sec. Okay, so that's just finished. I'll show you what's next. It's telling me to add in the flour. So in the interest of your time, I've actually pre-weighed, because remember I showed you could weigh while it's going. So I put a bowl up the top and I just weighed the flour in, and then I actually added the next few ingredients as well. It's asking me for baking powder, a little bit of sugar, and a little bit of salt. So I already added those in. And so this is really quick, putting the lid on, and now we're kneading. This is our dough mode. And it's going to be a little bit noisy, but I want to tell you, in guided cooking, it comes on automatically. But if you're doing manual mode, you've got all these modes here. So you can see all the different modes that you can access on the Thermomix if you're doing manual cooking, just out of your head or from a book. And if you swipe, you can see we've got some space for some more modes. So they're going to be coming via software update, just at random times. Whenever Volwork decide they want to give us a new mode, it just comes via software update. So I will pause till the kneading is done. So our kneading of our dough has finished, and it's just asking me to transfer onto a silicone mat. So I grab my Thermomat here, which you can get from the mix shop. It has the measurements, the ruler down the edge. And if you're wanting to work with pastry for pies and things like that, you've got the circles in the middle as well, which is just handy. So it's telling me to transfer onto the mat and work it into a ball. So I would just put it right in the middle there. I don't know if you can see, actually I'll just show you. The bottom of the blades here, if I twist that back and forward a bit, the dough should just release and come onto the mat. And you can see it's pretty clean in there now. Well, I mean, not clean, but the dough's all out of it. I would swish some water around in there to get that clean to move on to our next steps. But here is a nice ball of dough, and I'm just going to wrap that up. Kind of loose, not too loose, just so you can see what I've done there. That is going to sit in there to rise for half an hour. So I'm going to just set that aside. on my bench over there and move on to the next steps, because it's telling me that while the dough is rising, that I can carry on and make the filling so that it's ready. So, but I'm actually just going to clean this bowl and get some of those ingredients out, so give me 2 seconds. Okay, so we're moving on to the filling section of the Gozleme now, and I'm going to grate some cheese. I've just cut it in cubes. Anytime you're grating cheese, because it's harder than it seems, it's better to take these off the blades and cut it into smaller kind of cubes, just to save it some pressure. And I love grating cheese in here because, you know, there's no additives in your cheese then. I know when you buy it grated, it's got some sort of coating on it. So I'm just going to do this for 6 seconds. Okay, it's asking me to transfer into a bowl, which I have here. And you can see the cheese all nicely grated. Just get it all out. You don't have to be too diligent here, because we're going to be processing some more ingredients next as well. There we go. So here I've got some mint and parsley. So it's asking me for the mint and the parsley to go in. Oh, and press that too. And 60 grams of baby spinach leaves, all nicely going into the bowl. And you can just see how nicely this chops herbs. 2 seconds, and it's asking me to put it in the bowl with the cheese. I do want to show you. Well, actually, it'll be easier if I show you if I just tip it out. But it's just beautiful and green, and because of the high-grade stainless steel and the Solingen steel blades, nothing oxidizes in here, which means when you're chopping herbs or spinach or whatever you're chopping in here, it does stay nice and green and retain those vitamins that can be bruised by chopping on a board, depending on the quality of your knives. So, without washing the bowl, which is nice, it's asking me to carry on adding some oil. I've got my oil drizzler here again. It's so slow, my drizzler. So just thinking that I'm actually empty, so give me 2 seconds. Just going to pour it out of here and hope I don't do too much, which is easy to do out of the giant bottle. Next, adding in some garlic. So I've got, I'll just show you, I've got 5 cloves of garlic in here and an onion cut in half. And in here, I've got some cumin, coriander, and paprika. So I'm just going to tip all of that in, and it asks for it. But normally I wouldn't be pre-prepared, but good for people watching. Oh, I need to actually press it. So this is going to chop now, 3 seconds. 3 seconds to chop all of our garlic, onions, and some spices together. I'll just show you, it's asking me to scrape down, but I'll just show you the texture I've got here with that. It's all nicely, really nicely chopped. So I'm just scraping that down because the next step is to cook that. Release all the flavours of those spices. It's so handy chopping and cooking in the same bowl, so you're not making any mess. It's just all in there. So 3 minutes to cook that, and then I'll show you when it's ready. Okay, so that has been cooking really nicely. I'll just show you. Well, more, you can't smell it, sorry. But, oh, my glass is fogging up. I don't know if you can see. It's just been cooking away nicely. The onion, garlic, and spices. So it's smelling very nice over here. So I'm going to add my minced beef, which you can do yourself in a Thermomix, and I normally do. Just for tonight's sake, I did grab some mince at my butcher, who assures me it's beautiful. And I've got a bit more than it says, and that's okay. Doesn't matter. And now it's asking me to put in a tablespoon of plain flour, and it's also going to ask me for some salt and pepper. Salt and pepper. So all that goes in. Oh yeah, it's asking for the lemon juice, which I've already squeezed here. Cool. Lovely. That was about half a lemon. So now all that is going to cook together, and our filling will be ready. So this is going for 4 minutes, at 100 degrees. Now this time you can see it's on reverse. So when it's on reverse, that means that the blades are going anti-clockwise on the blunt side of the blade. So that's what you would put on if you're wanting to cook most dinners really, but like stir fries, curries, anything that you don't want to be chopping while it's cooking. And that's why we've got it on reverse now while the mince is in there. I'll show you in that. Okay, that's done now, and it's telling me just to set aside into a bowl, and that needs to slightly cool because otherwise it will be too hot when you cook the gozleme as well. Same thing when you're making meat pies or something like that. You need to make the mixture and let it cool so that when you go to cook the pastry, the meat reheats up again without actually really burning your mouth when it's ready. So I'll just show you that mixture here. Just cooked mince in those spices and onion and garlic and everything. That's just telling me now to wait a feta because that's going to be the next, but it's actually asking me now to cool the mixture for a few minutes. So I'll just put this in the fridge, and then in a few minutes I'll come and show you the next step. I've got some laundry to sort. Okay, I've only left this to cool a minute because I actually really just want to keep going, but it's asking me to add now feta into the beef mixture. And you can use whatever feta you want, doesn't matter. I've used Greek, but Danish would be fine. And now I'm going to mix it in with our spinach and cheese that we had from earlier. And it's time to cook. Looks okay. So I'm mixing it in here. Can't really see what I'm doing. So the cheese will start melting now in here a little bit, but that's okay. It'll all just be a nice mixture together. Just combine as best you can. Although the mint and parsley will be in it as well. Yeah, that is looking good to me. Okay, so I'll set that aside while just making sure there's no big clumps of cheese somewhere. That's all good. So now it's time to roll out our dough. It's been rising half an hour now, so you can see we can't see, you can see it now. It's really risen quite a lot, and it's telling me to divide into 16 pieces. So I just normally get it into a log and just keep halving it until I've got as many pieces as I want. Okay, so I've already used my spatula. Okay, here we go. So I'm just going to cut that in half, and then I want 8 out of each side, so cut that in half. Again. And this is rough. I guess if you were doing it for guests or wanted it to look particularly pretty, you might spend a bit more time doing this evenly. You can weigh it so that each ball is the same. It says to approximately get 40 grams each. If you were wanting them to look perfect, you could easily just put on your scales and do that. But I am just doing it quite roughly because it doesn't matter to me. So there we go. That should be 16 pieces. Got that right? Oh, but I need them out of my way because now it's telling me to roll out each one into a large circle, and I've got my circle on my mat, which is really handy. So I'm going to do it. We'll see how I go. Maybe these, I don't know. And again, I'm not too worried if my circles aren't perfect, because I'm not some sort of professional chef. I am just a home cook, and my family will be happy with whatever. So yeah, but this guide on the map really is quite helpful. I think I've done an okay job there. So in the interest of your viewing, I will just do one and show you. It's telling me to place 2 tablespoons of the filling onto 1/2 of the dough, leaving a border. Then we're going to fold over and enclose the filling, seal the edges, and then I'm going to cook it on medium to high heat. So I have already turned my fry pan on over here, which I'll do in a second. Actually, I'll move that now so you can see what I'm doing. Just get a bit of the mixture, about 2 tablespoons, so maybe a bit more. You don't want to overfill them though, that's the only thing, because then they'll burst. That's looking pretty good. So I'm just going to fold it over, and our mat is non-stick, so that's really handy for that. Just enclose that there and flatten it out a bit. I've got a bit of air in there, so I'm just going to smudge the air out. That was great. Okay. Oh, is this going to move for you? I want to try this in front of you. Really, so sticking to my bench. All right, I probably did a bit too much oil, but this is not a non-stick kind of pan. This is just an old pan I got when I was first married 15 years ago. So I'm just going to place it on and let that cook. I'm going to do 2 to 3 minutes each side, and then it says to serve with lemon wedges. But while that's cooking, what I will do, show you what else I would serve it with. And I love the beetroot salad from the basic cookbook, and I think that's a perfect side to the Gozleme. So while the mince was cooking, I cut up the veggies for that, because it takes 1 minute. Just, I don't peel the carrots, just cut them. I do peel the beetroot. I don't peel the apple, just quarter it. And I love this chopping board. You can get this from the mix shop too, because you do your work on it, and then when you grab the handle, see how it curves up, and it fits really nicely into the bowl. So this is our beetroot salad. Just carrot, apple, beetroot. I'm going to put in a bit of oil. About a tablespoon or 2 tablespoons, whatever, just drizzle it in. And I've got some lemon juice here, which is always good. Some salt and pepper. And you'll see why I love this salad. Aside from the fact that it probably takes me maybe 2 minutes to peel and cut the veggies. But then in here, it only takes 5 seconds. So and then I stop it after 5 seconds. And there's our salad. The lighting isn't great. Oh, how about I pull some up for you? So that's what I'd be serving on the side of my Gozleme. It's a very nutrient-dense salad, really tasty, delicious. You could use whatever dressing you want as well. Just the lemon juice, oil, salt and pepper was my choice. But yeah, it goes really well with pretty much everything. Let me check this and see what's happening here. Yeah, that's looking really good. So normally, obviously, I'd get a few prepared and cook them all at the same time, like have a few cooking at the same time to be a bit quicker, or if I only have 6. So I'd do that a bit quicker, but for the sake of showing you today, I did want to just be quick. But yeah, I will just start, while that one's cooking, I will just start rolling up my next one. And be able to show you the end result. So yeah, I think this is a really good, this isn't one of the quickest Thermomix recipes. I mostly do the recipes that take only a few minutes of my time, and then about 20 minutes of the Thermomix's time to cook while I leave the kitchen. This one's a little bit more involved, but I did want to show you how this one is done, because once you see it, you might be more confident to do it yourself. And it is really delicious for a night where you do have a bit of extra time, and a really great budget meal as well. It really spreads quite far. To get 16 Gozlemes, we wouldn't eat them all in one night, and you've got leftovers for the next night, or if you're having guests, it's really good with a side of salad. This is a litre of salad, so that goes really far as well. So let me just make sure that's done. We're really only needing to cook the pastry, because if you'll remember, the filling was pre-cooked, so as long as the pastry's cooked, it's ready. And grab my plate out and get some salad ready. This salad is really nice served on top of baby spinach and crumbled feta over the top as well. That's another really nice way we like to serve this salad. Right, that is looking beautifully done. Actually, it looks visually better if I turn it that way. So there we have the Gozleme from Simply Delicious with a side of beetroot salad from the basic cookbook. And I hope that's been helpful. Okay, so that was the Gozleme. They can be, oh, I don't know about cold. I guess as long as you're being food safe, because there's meat in there. So if you wanted it cold, I guess you could have an ice pack on it to keep it a good cold. But yeah, there you go. Someone else has done that cold, so that's great. But yeah, it makes a lot. Definitely more. Like we had these last night, and we're a family of 6, and we had half left over for tonight or whenever. So yeah, that's awesome. I can just show you now the muffins that have come out. Oh, they're a bit hard. All nicely cooked. So yeah, and you can see the trays nice and non-stick. The muffins just slide out really easily. And the big ones, still a little bit hot. I shouldn't have picked that up. But yeah, just normal size. So you could ice them. I'm going to leave those without icing. They're great to just eat as is. You could ice them with ganache or buttercream, or just have normal cream. You could have sprinkled with sprinkles before baking, but my kids are going to be happy just to eat them as is. So I'm going to show you now our last dish, which is another dish we had for dinner tonight. So I am going to again share the screen with you so that you can see the video in fast time, so that it's not hang on, I need to cancel my spotlight. Yeah, here we go. Hi, today I'm going to make a Gozleme with you from our book Simply Delicious, and I'm going to make now some Thai red pork curry, but first, before I do that, I wanted to show you a trick on how you can be cooking rice in your thermo server at the same time as cooking a curry in your Thermomix. So, and the first step is to add rice and water. Well, I boil the water in the Thermomix and then add the rice, and it cooks in there for 5 minutes. And then you set it aside in your thermo server, and it's meant to cook. And it's supposed to take 25 minutes. So I'm going to just be completely honest with you and say I've never done this before. I've had friends do it and tell me that it works. So I am just going to do a little experiment with you all and see how that goes. So I'm going to set this aside to cook and carry on with our curry. So I've got it here on my weekly menu. I've already made the curry paste, which was on today's plan as well. So I just did that, and you can see I haven't cleaned my bowl after I've made it. So I'm just going to go straight into the curry. Now you can buy curry paste, or you can make it in the Thermomix as well. So I'm just going to press start. Now in the bowl, the first step is to add onion, garlic, ginger, and kaffir lime leaves. They were all out at the fruit shop and at Woolworths. So at Woolworths, just showing you in case anyone else is ever in the predicament I was in tonight, you can buy in the jar, in the Asian section, you can buy a jar of them. So that's all going in. First step. So it's asking me for onion, garlic, ginger, and the lime leaves. Oh, and it's asking, of course, for the curry paste. Now this is how much curry paste the recipe made. You can see the jar is very full, which I knew was okay because I was going to be putting some in here. I just want to show you that texture actually. Well, it's on the Thermomix now so you can see it. But that's the texture of the curry paste. It's looking very good. Now in there is red chilies, lime zest, lime juice, lemongrass, ginger, garlic, and some oil. Oh, I was just chatting to you and I put too much in, but it doesn't even matter because I'm making this for my husband who loves it spicy. So a little bit of extra curry paste is not going to matter. So it's telling me to put the lid on. And I'm just going to turn the speed up to speed 9 to chop all that together. Okay, so that should all be chopped. Something to note is if your hand's wet, it's not going to make the screen work very well. So if ever your screen is not doing what you need it to do, just have a look if the screen is clean and dry. So it's telling me to scrape down, and it says if needed, chop further. I don't think it's needed. This is really well chopped. I'll show you the texture I have here. Hopefully you can see that. And I am going to scrape it down off the lid as well, which I find the spatula does a good job of getting in there nicely. Okay, so that's all scraped down. I'm not going to chop it further though. So I'm going to add in some fish sauce. It's asking for a tablespoon. And, oh, the coconut cream. So this is just 1 tin of coconut cream. Brand of choice. Now you can, in your Thermomix, make coconut cream with water and desiccated coconut or whatever coconut you buy. So if you're ever out, look up a recipe for coconut cream. It's really good actually. It's another money saving tip. Some peanut butter. Oh, yet again, you can make your own peanut butter in the Thermomix. There's plenty of recipes around. You can also make it with different like cashews or almonds. You do seeds or whatever to make it suit your family's tastes. And up to you whether you add salt and sugar or roast your nuts first or don't roast them. Making your own peanut butter is really cool. Now I'm adding in sweet potato. I've already peeled this. Normally I wouldn't be so organised, but for your sake. And we're putting the lid on for our first cook. This is going to cook for 6 minutes. And so I have time now to clean up the kitchen a little, get out my next ingredients, or just go do whatever else I need to do in the house. But I do want to show you how to multitask here. If I press these 3 dots and press the recipe detail, you can look ahead to see what's next. So I will know to go to the fridge and get out my pork and some beans and my garnish. But for now, I'm going to pause the recording and just come back when it's ready for the next step. Okay, that's been cooking away and it's just finished. I want to show you, well, actually there's really not much to show you. It's just kind of a curry that's been cooking away. But now it's asking me for the pork, which during that time I was able to press. And that is pork loin steak that I've used, and I've just trimmed off the fat. So it's probably going to be less than 500 by the time I got rid of all the fat on that, but that's fine for me. Happy for that. So now it's just putting the lid on. And that's going to be the last step of this curry. I'm putting the lid on and cooking this for a further 8 minutes. And then dinner's ready. So, and in that 8 minutes again, you don't need to be in the kitchen, which is my favourite thing about the Thermomix, is letting it do the cooking while I go do whatever else I need to do in the house. I will show you what it's done, obviously, once that's ready. Okay, that's done, and I've just realised that I have another ingredient on my bench, so I was wrong saying that was the last step, but that's okay because guided cooking always tells you what to do, and obviously if you're following a recipe. It's asking me to add some frozen beans. I've never bought frozen beans before. I would usually just use fresh. For the sake of the fact that it's for a class, I thought I'd better try and follow the recipe and just see what happens. If it's a different texture to the store-bought, I'm really not sure. The recipe might have been doing that as a money saving. I don't know didn't look at the cost difference between fresh and frozen. But so okay, another 5 minutes and then it's ready. So it's still a really quick meal. I'll show you what it's done in a second when it's cooked. Okay, now we are done. It says transfer into a serving bowl and garnish with coriander and chili. But now for the big reveal with the rice experiment results. So yeah, that is actually looking quite good. So if I can show you, it's, yeah, that's great. So I can serve some rice up in this bowl and show you. I don't know if you can really see the texture through the screen. Actually, I better make sure it's all cooked properly. That'll be the real test, won't it? Not just what it looks like. Yeah, there you go. Rice cooked in the thermo server while your curry cooks on the side. Brilliant. And now for our Thai red pork curry. Looks delicious, by the way. And so we've got almost 2 litres worth of curry in here. My husband likes a lot of sauce, so I'm making sure I make it really saucy for him. Yeah, that looks great. Garnish that with a bit of coriander that I already have. That's a lot on the side. And there's our red Thai pork curry. Cool. And yep, okay, so there's our curry. So we've been able to show you 3 different main dishes from our Simply Delicious book and 2 different desserts. I'll just get Nat now to show us the result of her Portuguese custard tarts. And you're on mute, so.
Okay, I'm back. Hi guys. So while that video has been going, I've got the tarts out of the oven and they're on my cooling rack, and I'm just going to lift the camera up and hopefully you can see how good they have turned out. They taste really good. I may have tried a little bit of one. Not that I'm supposed to, but I may have. I'm not going to deny or admit to it. So there's your Portuguese tarts. They were really quick and easy. And I'll just let you in on a little secret. I've never made them before. I was put on the spot today and I went, sure, why not? So that's how easy our guided cooking is. Even I can do it. So if I can do it, you can do it. Yeah, I've seen them made before and they look too hard for me, so I've never actually attempted them. But now that I made them, I think I might make them again because they were really easy and really cheap to make too. Who would have thought? So back to you. Thanks guys for watching.
Thanks so much, Nat. That is beautiful. We're pretty much at the end of our class tonight. I did just want to thank you all for coming. Thanks to Lisa and Nat for helping me present. Thanks to everyone's questions, comments in the chat. It really actually helps us feel like we are part of a class, even though we're in empty kitchens. We're still getting used to virtual classes, kind of. But yeah, really great to have you all on. If anyone has questions, please stay on. I'll stay on for a few minutes answering questions. The other thing I want to do is do a cookie do a very short mini cookie dough tutorial. So if anyone wants to know how to use cookie dough and what that's about, just stay on. The other thing is we have some great promotions happening at the moment. So if anyone isn't looking to invest in a Thermomix, please get in touch with your consultant. Tomorrow I'm going to email you all the recording of tonight and the recipes. So you'll have my email address. If anyone has questions, please feel free to get back in touch with me. I'm always happy to talk about Thermomix. I've been a consultant for 10.5 years now, and I still just love talking about it. So don't feel like you're hassling me when you have questions. And I know that's the same with all of our consultants as well. We just love sharing it. So thank you everyone who came on. I am going to do a screen share now of cookie dough, and if you need to hop off, please feel free to do so. Where is it? Here it is. So this is cookie dough, and it's the same on your TM6 screen, exactly the same. You can scroll it and browse through all these things, or you can search up the top. Browsing is really good. It gives you trending recipes, most cooked. There is a blog with articles, and the latest collections are on here. Some of our categories. Anyway, I actually just want to show you the search function because I do want to be quick. We do hold proper half-hour cookie dough tutorials each week, so you can talk to your consultant about that. But I just want to show you really quickly. If you know what you want to cook, for example, you saw the Gozleme tonight and you want to make it yourself, you can type in the name of what you're wanting to cook and it will come up. If you don't know what you want to cook, you can just type in an ingredient you want to use, such as chicken. And if you want to cook with several ingredients, you can type several ingredients, chicken pumpkin. You can do that as well. But I'll just show you with using chicken as an example, how you can maximize your search results with your filters. And now some people don't know about this, so I just have to show you. You can narrow down your search by choosing a category. You can add in another ingredient here or minus an ingredient. So if you have an allergy, I'm just going to type minus egg. Now it's going to bring up recipes without eggs. So you can do that as well. I'm just going to take that off, but just to show you, you can do that. Tags are another great thing that you can do, like nut-free, gluten-free, autumn, winter, gourmet. You could type in chef. You could type in quick. Oh, even afternoon tea. Like, your tags are really good. You can change the difficulty, the time, the portions. There are ratings here. The rating system is fairly new, so don't take that too much to heart. But also, if you have recipes that you really like, or if you think you really don't like, do come in and rate them so that other people can learn from your ratings. The main filter that I love to change is down the bottom, where you can see Australia is the default tick, which means the recipes that are made by head office in Australia are the default ones that come up. If you want to maximize your results, this is what I do. I tick English and then untick Australia. Now all the English results are going to come up, and you can see there's a lot more that have come up now that I've ticked all the English recipes. If you don't care about languages, you could just untick it entirely and you'll have a lot more. But I only speak English and I'm happy with 1,000 different chicken recipes. Now, once you've found a recipe that you want to cook, what's one I want to cook? Oh yeah, okay, that looks good. Chicken chorizo and chickpea stew. You can press these 3 dots and here's where you can organize the recipe. You can either cook it today, you can bookmark it, add it to a collection. Now I'll show you the collections that I have set up. I've got one here ready for chicken, so I might add it in there. You name your collections however you want to name them. If you don't have any, up the very top there's a create collection button. Or, I love this, add it to your week. So you choose which day you're going to cook it and then just press save, and you can also add it to your shopping list. And I'll show you what that looks like. So when you go to, if you have a TM5 with a cook key or the TM6, once you've organized recipes on here, they will be on your TM6 screen. And so if I go into my recipes, you can see the collections here that I have saved. These are all the collections I've saved on mine. But what I actually want to show you is this weekly planner and shopping list. You can see these are the recipes I put in my cook today, and that's why they were so easily on my TM6 screen. These are this is the shopping list. So this is one of my favorite things about the Cookie Do system, is that the shopping list ingredients for all 5 of my recipes are separated into aisles of the supermarket. So all my dairy is together, my meat, my spices. Oh, there's usually more spices in my list. All my veggies are together. So when I'm going down those aisles, I can find everything really easily. You can also add other things. These are the extra things I wanted to buy that were not part of a recipe today. And while you're going down the shops, you can just tick it to say that you've got that in the trolley, or before you leave home, you can tick it to say, yes, I've already got that in my pantry or fridge, so I'll just tick it off. But once your list is ready, you can share that with someone, or print it, or you can order it. Now this is awesome. If you shop at Woolworths, particularly at the moment, they don't affiliate with Coles yet. I don't know if that's coming, but this is all I know, is that you can do online shopping with Woolworths. So everything in your shopping list comes up. If you want to change the brand, so you can swap that. Say you want to pick, I don't know, just whatever you want. You just swap it and change it. The default seems to be the most expensive brand. Like, look at that coconut cream. It's wanting to buy me 2 200 ml containers. It's much more cost effective to buy a 400 ml option. So you can go down and find whatever. If you want to find the brand you like, you can do that. Yeah, and just swap things around. Once you're ready, you add it to your cart, and it takes you to the Woolworths website where you can add other things or delete things off or whatever you want to do. You know, I'd be changing those to free range eggs if that were me. I'd be changing this to 3 liters of milk if that were me, because we're a big family. But you're able to do that all from within Cookie Do. So that's a really brief look into Cookie Do. And yes, you're saying you never knew that. It's because it's new and we haven't really announced it yet. So you might start seeing consultants announcing the shopping list in the next week or 2. We were told about it for testing, but it's there for you to find. So I'm allowed to show you on classes, just not allowed on social media yet. But yeah, absolutely give that a go. That's the end of our cooking class. I am just going to stay on for anyone else who has questions, and I'll look through the chat. It looks like Jen's been answering questions awesomely in the chat, but I'll have a look through and make sure. But yeah, if anyone has other questions, feel free to come off mute or type it in. And thanks so much for joining us tonight.